Welcome back everybody to Malta Archery. Today we have a comparison of Asiatic Nocks. They are all from Custom Thumb Ring Archery. These guys are so awesome. They say, listen, we send you all of our Nocks and you simply can compare them. There they are. Asiatic Nocks. We start directly with the first one, which is the Turkish, the Ottoman one. They are quite big. They were used in flight and in military. They have a quite bulbous design, but they say it's easy to grip. And then the draw shall be easy with them. Is the Mughal knock, the normal Mughal knock. It's a quite bulbous design. What they did usually, they didn't have a flare inside, but of course in ancient times they had quite thick strings, so the string was using as a center point for knocking the arrow. Don't have these thick strings anymore, that's why they made a little bit of flare with it. Next is the Mughal speed. It's the same, but of course they made now a big flare on it that it's easier to knock faster. Shall still have a good retention and shall still good be for indexing the arrow on the string. We will see this when we shoot. The next one is the normal Manchu knock. We know this with this taper to the back. This is the authentic one, how it looked like. With this outward taper you get of course a nice retention and supposed a nice indexing of the arrow on the string. Then they do, because sometimes people don't like the massive design of the Manchu Nocks, they make a mini Manchu Nock, same design, only really nice and small. And last but not least, as they always say, the Korean one is a very thin, very minimalistic design. It was used for target and for military, and this one shall be very comfortable to shoot with a ring. Now let's weigh them. We start with the Turkish knock. They are 34 grain. The Mughal 22. Mughal speed should be a little less because of the flare, 18. The Manchu normal 30. The Manchu Mini 18. And the Korean knock, of course the smallest, and the most lightweight is 16 grain. So as a comparison, the new Koch knocks would be 18. The U-knock from Vjal Archery would be 18. And a standard knock, like you normally have it, is 12. Custom Thumb Ring Archery included this piece. I guess this is the raw material for the Nocks. Looks a bit like a hot glue stick. The only thing I want to mention, when you see them all and you see the photos in the close-up, they all look a little rough. They all of course have on the, where you put this insert part in the shaft, they have these small knots on it, so should give a good contact to the shaft. But they are very matte finish and sometimes a little rough, as you see. So final finishing is maybe not there where it could be. When you compare this one to a U-knock, only from the finishing, look, the U-knock is shiny. Of course, if you don't want to have it shiny, don't get the U-knock, but it's a difference in appearance, let's say. Even when you would compare it to a Koch knock, the material looks a little more premium, sounds maybe wrong, but looks a little more premium than this material, but for sure it does the job. And on the other side, when you see, you get a dozen of each of them for $8, so you have 67 cents each knock. Quite a competitive price for what they are, and you get every design. The first ones I put now on these nice shafts from Turkey, on the Sungur. They are 6.2 millimeters. They fit really nice and tight. Here is a shaft from Alibo, fitting quite nicely, and they are rock solid in. And this is a shaft from Bear Paw, the Tinder, Pentalon, whatever. There the fit is a little more loose, but we had this in the past, but it's still enough retention force to keep the arrow in, as long as the string is not too thick, and then the arrow might come off. So usually it fits all of your arrow shafts, normal standard 6.2 millimeter roughly. Of course, you need to know which design you want to have or you want to shoot when you shoot, let's say, a Turkish Tatar bow. You might want to go for the Turkish Nocks. They look really sleek, really nice, so even retention feels good. Let's see how they knock. It's easy. Indexing is easy. So then we had the normal Mughal knock, very easy to knock. Then we have the Mughal speed, should go a breeze. Then we had the Manchu. Oh, nice. And the mini Manchu goes in the same, feels good. And the Korean one feels nice too. So all of them are easy to knock. You find the orientation easy. The hardest for me was now the Ottoman one. It's quite big, and the lip at the end is a little small. With the Ottoman, the indexing for me is the most difficult of all 6 of them. But overall, you find it quite easy, quite simple. The Ottoman, slide forward, push back. Here you need to guess a little. You have the best grip on it, but here you need, because it goes quite narrow down, it's a little tricky to index for me. But then holding it even with your index finger, you feel it nice. Feels good. This one, you feel nice, good. The Mughal feels nice. You have this stopping point here, whatever you do, when you slide back, or when you whatever loading technique you have and you strike back, you always find the end nice and easy. And knocking, easy. Whoops, that was too high. Knocking easy. So the normal Mughal knock is already easy to knock. And then the speed Mughal is almost doesn't matter how you put it back, always knocks. And the knock groove is not that deep, so it's really quite fast to do so. Manchu one, easy. So you get it most probably from your quiver. Have a really nice stopping point here, and knocking no problem. But of course I should shoot a Manchu bow. The mini Manchu feels nice too. Of course you lose a little here, because the taper is of course very small. So this one, when you come back, stroke the feather, stopping here is a little more critical, but knocking, finding the place for the knock, easy. And the last one is the Korean one, the very thin, very sleek one. Oh, this is very thin. My string is not big enough, not thick enough, but you see this is always comes because you have here your V, whatever you do. This one is a really nice one to knock. Minimalist, just fine. Today we shoot the Raptor by Simon's Bow Company. So 3 times the Ottoman shafts. So knocking is for me, with these ones, the most critical one. They are even quite big. When you shoot them, they feel quite nice, but knocking them is a little tough. I think you need to get used to it. 3 Mughal knocks. How do they feel? Easy. You feel them nice. Orientation is easy. Not a problem. Sometimes when you're too fast, they're a little small, that you don't miss them, but nice to shoot. So now the 3 Mughal speed knocks, they are breathe to knock. Nice. Nice. Bit easier to handle like the normal Mughals, but still both of them are really nice. Don't have a Manchu bow here, so we shoot only 32-inch arrows, but with the big Manchu knocks, and they feel, of course, when you go back you feel them, they have a lot of beef to it, and they knock easy. That's really tactile. Awesome. You feel them the best, of course, but they're massive. So, and they're easy to knock because you have really this huge part here, not like the Turkish one. Nice, very nice. So if you have a manchabo or something long draw and you want to have the design, these ones do the job very well. So now the mini manchus, they're of course very small. So here to feel the retention there, to know where is the end of the arrow gets a little tricky. Knocking on the other side, easy. Let's see. Yeah, you get used to it, but they don't have this feel like the big manchu one. So if you want to have the small one, especially when you want to mount them on arrows, they are not that long. I mean, when you have 35, 36-inch arrows, get the big manchu nocks, they look proportionally perfecto. If you have shorter arrows, let's say 30, 32 inches, and you want to have manchu style nocks, go for the small ones. They don't have so many benefits, but they are quite nice to shoot. And at the end, the nice Korean ones, they are quite small, so you don't feel at all where the end of the arrow is, so you really need to know what you're doing. But they feel really nice. Orientation, so you don't feel the retention, but you feel directly how to knock them. Easy. You only need to make sure that you find the end easy. So this is the only thing. When you load like this, when you strike back here, the chance that you slip over is very easy, but they are so sleek, so nice. When you use another method like this one, no problem. So out of the hand, and they knock almost automatically. Nice. A quick test, all 6 different knocks on these 6 arrows, and I shoot them now simply randomly to see the ease of use of each knock. So that was directly the Turkish one. After a while you get used to it, how to knock. That is the Mughal speed, I guess. That's the mini manchu. That's a Korean one. That's the big manchu, knocks nice. And that's then the normal Mughal. So with the Turkish one, maybe you need a little more to adapt to it, but at the end you get the feeling for all of them, and whatever shooting style you have, they will do the job for you. So, which knock to choose? It's a very good question. Ease of use, you get used to each of them. So, of course, and now it's up to you when you shoot something Turkish Ottoman, go with these ones. You can put the fletching really far back there that they look like this flight or military arrows, no problem. You feel them good, but at the end with this thin lip here, to knock them, this is the hardest for me to knock. The normal Mughal feels good, you feel the end, that you know where the end of the arrow is. The knock groove compared to the Turkish one is only half depth, half deep. Mughal is nice. Speed Mughal for me, nicer knocks almost without thinking about it. I mean, at the end we don't think at all about it. Then the manchu knock, you feel it the most when you go back, stroke the feather, you know, and then the end, the retention of the manchu knock is really nice. And if you shoot a manchu bow or something like this and you have long arrows, you need a manchu knock. This is, you can't get out of it. The manchu mini, I'm not sure, so you don't have the benefit of the taper anymore. It's almost not going wider, so to feel it there is harder than here or here. It's nice if you have shorter arrows, you might want to go for it. I don't really see a use for the mini one, only because you like the design, but you don't want to have this clunky thing back there. Might be. And the last one, so with the Korean one, it's the hardest to feel the end when you go backwards, but it depends on your loading technique. But for the rest, you don't feel these knocks at all. They're very sleek and they knock quite easy. So I was surprised, didn't expect that. So for me, as long as I don't have to use the Ottoman, I would not use them. From the Mughal, depends on you. Of course, the traditional ones looks a little nicer with a less flare, but shooting wise, for me the Mughal speed nicer. Manchu one, I would always go for the big one. I don't see the purpose for the small one, and the Korean one is just nice. So they're all nice, and when I said they are $8 a dozen, I think it doesn't break the bank when you narrow it down to 2, 3 of them. If you want to try something different, you get 12 of them, shoot them, and then you know which one you like. So it's not that big of a thing, not that big investment, I guess. But then you get arrows, they look really like they look in these old photos of arrows. Really nice. They do their job, they fulfill the purpose. I gave you the weight, so you know what you have to deal with. I mean, with a Manchu arrow, it's no problem, you always need the weight, but with the others, you might want to consider the weight in adding up with the weight of the shaft and the tips and so on. How does it behave when you have a ring on it? I show you now. Ottoman. Yeah. Needs a bit. Needs a bit. This is not my ring now, so it's a bit unfortunate that I don't have my ring with me. The normal Mughal. The knock groove is very shallow, so you need to get used to it. The speed Mughal. Nice. The Manchu. This one you can hold nice in place. Of course, usually you shoot with your thumb, with your cylindrical thumb ring then. Small one, nice. And the Korean one. The Mughal ones felt the best for me now with this ring, but of course it always depends which ring you shoot and what you shoot. So this is only me. Ottoman feels nice. Mughal feels a little better. Mughal speed. Manchu, Mughal speed. Mini Manchu. And Korean one. Nice too. Do I need to show you that the knocks have no or almost no effect on hitting the target. Ottoman knock, quite massive, quite heavy, consider that, and the hardest for me to knock because of this design. The normal Mughal feels overall, I think it's the most versatile. Looking good, it's not too massive, you feel it good, it's easy to knock, looks good, shoots good, nice one. And it's not so heavy. The Mughal speed looks of course quite with this big flare, but it's really easy to knock. So if you're looking for, you want to shoot faster or whatever, these ones will do the job, and you still have this feeling here of the stopping motion. Manchu, really nice here. The best way, I think, for horse archers, these Manchu knocks are still, you feel them, they are durable. Even, you know, this is the back, you can knock them easy. They are almost, they are plain there, so if they would have a slight V shape to the inside, would make your life easier. So go on the back slightly in an angle in, because then when you knock, the rotation, the indexing would go a little easier. For the rest, nice. The mini Manchu, if you want it because you like the design and it's lightweight, but you still want to have a different looking arrow, it's fine. And the Korean one, of course, for the, when you shoot a Korean bow or the Korean style, these knocks should be on your arrow. They feel good. Of course, you load differently, so it's no problem that you feel it here. So whatever, when you load from here, easy peasy, no problem. Only when you slide backwards, you might lose this very easy when you're not used to it. But on the other side, you know the feather, and then you stop. But it's tricky. So this one is tricky to load this way. For the rest, really look at this slim thingy. Huh? Price wise, I think it's okay. 67 cents for one, you get a dozen for $8 plus shipping. I don't know how much shipping is now. That's okay. They do the job, everything, and they are not shiny. So if you don't like shiny things, they are just fine. But as shown before, compared to a Knock from Vjal, they are really glossy, shiny, and the finish is like a small masterpiece. And price-wise, I think they are roughly the same. But here you have more options. All of them are good. There is no best or worst knock. You simply depends. When you shoot Ottoman, go with these ones. When you shoot Manchu, shoot these ones. When you shoot other Asiatic styles, the Mughal ones will do the job. And if you have a Korean one, get the Korean arrows. Quite simple. If you want to test them, because you shoot, I mean, you don't want to shoot the Korean ones on the Manchu arrows, let's say. But if you're an average shooter and you have whatever a Keshik, Korean ones or the Mughal ones will do the job very well. You don't need a Manchu knock when you shoot a Keshik, as example. Raptor by Simon's Bow Company, all of them feel good. And then it depends, if you shoot from horseback, it's different than you shoot on foot. A big thanks and a shout out to Custom Thumbring Archery for sending them to me, that I can compare them. Really interesting what is going on right now in the market, that you really have the choice, even for your carbon arrows, to make something really good looking and historically almost correct. And then you can still have the benefits, like with the Mughal knock. If the normal Mughal knock is a little too for you, go for the fast shooting Mughal knock, and you still have a nice classy design. And it's made for the modern string, so as you know, they didn't have a flare because the string was quite thick. So the string was using as a center mechanism for the knock. Now the strings are very thin, so we need to use the knock as a center mechanism. That's why we have the flare on it. But for me, no problem. I mean, total historically, it will never be correct because they never shoot carbon arrows. And the material of the knock is not plastic, it's horn or wood, as you know that. So, or bone or whatever. Fine by me. I like what Custom Thumbring Archery is doing, so go check them out. They have a lot of interesting stuff on their website. You know, if you like it, give thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give thumbs down twice. It works quite well, as I said last time. If you didn't get the point properly, and they still did only give thumbs down once, but fine by me too. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.